started collecting Breweriana like most people my age. I started out with beer cans back in the early 1970s. I'm an architect, and my first architectural position was with a large international firm in downtown St. Louis, and they leased space at the Lemp Brewery. So a couple days a week I would be down at the Lemp Brewery and really got interested in the architecture and the history of the Lemp Brewery. My fledgling Lemp collection started with just those trips to the antique shops there at the Lemp Brewery. I used my beer cans and sold those on eBay individually to get my seed money to start really getting into seriously collecting Lemp stuff in about 1999. It's really been a great experience in being part of NABA and collecting those items as I've been going along. This piece right here is a William J. Lemp's Buck Beer paper lithograph. It's dated 1886. I acquired this through an auction of an long-time St. Louis Breweriana collector, Bill Mitchell, and that was about 7 years ago that I had acquired this. This piece over here is another paper lithograph. It is from a lithographer here in St. Louis, and it dates to 1879. I acquired this from a guy who contacted me through my website and said that he had this piece and he was looking to sell it, and I was more than happy to acquire it for my collection. One of the smaller pieces and more interesting pieces I have that's not a sign is a thermos that was given out by the Lemp Brewery to various workers, and on the top it's stamped "Attaboy," and it dates to 1909. This large factory scene is from about 1898. It is a paper lithograph, and there are probably about 6 of these that I've seen, but this is one of my favorite pieces. I acquired this at an auction that I believe was in Maine, and I've had this for about 15 years or so. Another interesting piece here in my collection is this corner sign, which had been lighted. It's for the 1904 World's Fair here in St. Louis. In its logo there, it's got the World's Fair beer for, again, the 1904 World's Fair. Another interesting piece is yet another corner sign. I acquired this from another longtime collector of pre-Prohibition Breweriana here in St. Louis, Kurt and Ellen Falkenberry. And I really love this because of the detail that came out in the lithography that they used on their tin signs. Just a great example of the craftsmanship that went into making these pieces many, many years ago. This is an interesting piece. It's lithographed onto vitrolite, which is a milk glass. A guy had contacted me through my website about 6 years ago saying that he had a very unusual piece, and I was able to acquire it and then put a new frame around it. And this is the only known example of this type of Lemp beer vitrolite sign. This piece here is yet another unique piece that I have not seen in anybody else's collection. It's an 1890 paper lithograph calendar, again from the year 1890. It features the Gamichlakite, or what we more commonly call in Breweriana circles the Top Hat Man, and it's quite a popular image that you'll see in other advertising by the Lemp Brewery. This piece here is a plaster and horsehair sign. It's very large and very heavy. It dates to about the late 1880s to early 1890s. I say it's plaster and horsehair because back in those days they used horsehair to bind the plaster together to keep it from cracking. This is lithographed onto canvas. It's a scroll that we've had framed, and it features Lemp's Extra Pale beer. It dates to about 1897, 1898. I have never seen Lemp ever use a clown in their advertising, and even though it's somewhat creepy, it's really unusual, but it certainly is a favorite in my collection. This piece here is for Lemp's Extra Pale beer. It dates to about 1898. The story with this self-framed tin sign is that a gentleman in Texas had contacted me probably about, it was about 11 years ago, asking for more information about the sign. He had inherited it from his grandparents who actually worked at the Lemp Brewery, and when they retired, after being absorbed into the Falstaff Brewing Company, they gave them this sign as a retirement present. Another piece that's really detailed that I really enjoy is this 1896 calendar. This is the only known example of this type of calendar. What I really enjoy about this is the old style label that the Lemp Brewery was using at that time in 1896 before they used and introduced the Lemp Shield logo. I really enjoy the image of the sleeping grandfather and the grandson trying to steal his beer while he's asleep. This piece is one of my favorites. This is a curved tin corner sign that dates to about the late 1880s to 1889. Again, it's lithographed on tin. The story with this is that it was found in an antique shop in Arizona in about 1964. The ownership of it had passed through a few hands until it became Kurt and Ellen Falkenberry's about 20 years ago, and then they sold it to me about 5 years ago. So one of my favorite pieces.